Morning, everyone. I'm Jenna Lee. Welcome to Fox Business Morning. Here's a look at what happened in your world while you were sleeping. Danaher making some merger and acquisition news. The Wall Street Journal telling Fox Business the industrial conglomerate was ready to close a deal for Tektronix. Now, the proposed $2.8 billion all-cash deal would value Tektronix shares at $38 each. Tektronix, which is an electronic test and management company, closed Friday at $28.34.
Well, Hitachi says it has successfully reduced the size of a key component in hard drives. Hitachi says the discovery will enable computer makers to quadruple the memory of your laptops and music players. The company made the announcement at a conference in Tokyo overnight and says it expects the technology to be available to the public by the year 2011. Now, Hitachi is an ADR. American Depository Receipt. An ADR is actually a certificate of shares of a foreign stock that trades right here in the U.S. Hitachi trades on the New York Stock Exchange under the ticker symbol HIT. The stock currently trading around 67 bucks. All right, the Colorado Rockies are now one step away from baseball's World Series. The Rockies beat the Arizona Diamondbacks 4-1 last night. I was watching this game. That victory gives the Rockies a 3-0 edge in the series. Game 4 is tonight in Denver, and tonight only on Fox, the Boston Red Sox and Cleveland Indians meet in Game 3 of the American League Championship Series in Cleveland. The series is tied at a game apiece.
All right, in Sunday Night Football, the New Orleans Saints were in Seattle to play the Seahawks. Now, the biggest highlight from the game was the one that almost didn't happen. During a timeout in the first quarter, an NBC camera suspended above the field came crashing down and almost hit some of the Seahawk players. After a short delay, the camera was moved out of the way. Things didn't get much better for the Seahawks after the incident, though. The Saints won the game 28-17. And here's a quick look at your Fox Business Travelers forecast. Clear skies on the East Coast should make it easy for travel there. Showers moving into the Midwest later in the day could force delays at Chicago's airports. Your full forecast is coming up before our next break. And here's a look at the stock index futures right now. It looks like we're headed for a higher open. Dow futures are up 8 with fair value down about 14.
All right, well, some major banks are reportedly banding together to prevent a second wave of mortgage woes from hurting the economy. The Wall Street Journal reporting that Citigroup, Bank of America, and JP Chase are working on a plan to support the market for mortgage-backed securities and other investments. Now, the Journal reporting they would create a fund to buy as much as $100 billion worth of debt. That, in turn, could give investors more confidence to put money into the troubled credit market. The Treasury Department is also involved, and an official announcement could be made today. Well, activist investor Carl Icahn may be looking to stir things up again over at Motorola. Well, the Financial Times reporting that Icahn could make another run at gaining a seat on the board of the electronics giant. Now, Icahn tells the FT that if Motorola does not perform up to par, he would seriously think about coming back. Icahn tried to get a seat on the board in May and owns more than 70 million shares in Motorola, and that amounts to 3% of the company. Motorola's ticker, MOT, as you can see there, trading in the $19 range.
Well, the fight to keep Cablevision from going private is also heating up. Fund manager Mario Gabelli says he will vote against a $10.6 billion buyout of the New York area cable operator. Now, Cablevision is accepting the Dolan family's offer for about $36 a share. Gabelli says the company is worth at least $50 a share. ISS Governance Services also says the Dolans are not paying enough. Cablevision, ticker symbol CVC, last closed at just above $34 a share. And after years of delays, mistakes, and setbacks, Airbus is delivering its first A380 Super Jumbo jet to Singapore Airlines. The European plane maker is holding a handover ceremony at its company headquarters in Toulouse, France. It's taken about 7 years and $15 billion to finish the double-decker jet. During that time, rival Boeing has become the top-selling aircraft maker. Airbus hoping the A380 turns things around. The first flight from Singapore to Sydney is scheduled just 10 days from now on October 25th.
Double-decker jet. I like that. All right, well, let's face it. Every day there are winners and every day there are sinners in business, politics, entertainment, sports, well, pretty much anywhere you look.
And here at Fox Business, we feel it's our duty and also in your best interest that we keep track. So every morning, we'll take a look at that day's winners and that day's sinners. All right, first up, good story for you. A couple of American heavyweights giving us a new chapter in the Cola Wars, and this time it's physical. Two delivery men for Coke and Pepsi got into an altercation outside a Pennsylvania Walmart this weekend. After counter-punching each other with verbal barbs for several minutes, the two apparently tried to run each other down with pallets of their products. That's when Pepsi's David Paulina allegedly punched Robert Cusco. All right, in the face 3 times, breaking his nose and giving him a black eye. Police are continuing to investigate the incident.
Remember that? No Coke, Pepsi. No Coke, Pepsi. All right. Well, the Ohio State University and South Florida University, a pair of winners. The rash of upsets occurring each week in college football has helped propel the Buckeyes and Bulls to the top 2 spots in this season's initial Bowl Championship Series poll. Unbeaten Ohio State, now 7-0, also ranked first in the Associated Press and USA Today polls. As for the Bulls, well, they didn't even have a football program until 1997. Talk about your great investments. Now, the top 2 schools in the final BCS standings on December 2nd will play for the national title. Well, Conagra is a sinner this morning. The company coming under fire for the manner in which it recalled salmonella-tainted pot pies. Critics claiming that Conagra's decision to wait until last Thursday to recall the pot pies increased the chances that more people would actually become sick. The delay also opening up the company to greater liability. Conagra issued a health alert on Tuesday and asked stores to stop selling banquet and some brand chicken and turkey pot pies, but the recall did not come until Thursday. USDA investigators are still working to determine the cause of the contamination. And filmmaker Tyler Perry is a winner again. Perry's latest film, Why Did I Get Married?, pulled in $21.5 million this weekend, topping the box office charts. It marks the 3rd time Perry has claimed box office gold for an opening. Now, his 2005 hit Diary of a Mad Black Woman debuted with nearly $22 million, and Medea's Family Reunion opened with $30 million in 2006. The 38-year-old Perry starred in, directed, and produced all 3 films. All right, to the overseas markets now. Prices on the Tokyo Exchange closed higher overnight. The Nikkei average up almost 27 points today. Let's see what the European markets are doing. Fox Business London reporter Ashley Webster joins us with the latest. Ashley, what's going on?
Good morning from London, Nicole, to you with the work week just kicking off here in Europe. Stocks trading on the upside, fueled by oil. BP and Royal Dutch doing very well today. The FTSE up by about 17 points at this hour. The DAX down by about 10, and the CAC trading up about 15 points in France. Well, all of this pales in comparison to Asia. The Hang Seng in Hong Kong trading up by almost 500 points. The big story in Asia also the energy stocks, as crude oil prices have traded again near record prices. PetroChina, for instance, has traded up by almost 10%. BHP Billiton, Australia's largest oil producer, also up by about 1%, which again is new record territory for them. You mentioned the Airbus delivering its super jumbo jet to Singapore Airlines today. Still many questions for investors about this company. The plane maker has yet to convince investors it will overcome production delays and reverse losses that total a whopping $810 million. Of course, more than 20 company executives also being investigated for insider trading. Now, production was delayed after French and German planners used different computer design tools, get this, forcing workers to install 300 miles of wiring by hand. Yikes. Wouldn't you like to do that job? Well, that's the latest from London, where stocks, for the most part, are on the up. Back to you in New York.
See, some people are very talented installing that wire by hand. All right, Ashley, thank you very much. All right, well, she wants to be president, and Hillary Clinton says she plans to enforce fiscal responsibility. That's what the New York senator told the Fox Business Network's Alexis Glick in a one-on-one interview. Here's some of that interview that you'll see later on this morning on Money for Breakfast.
I'm for returning to fiscal responsibility. I'm for restoring fairness in our economy. I am for creating opportunities by making college affordable again.
Also ahead for you today on Money for Breakfast, could the world's biggest computer and printer maker be buying out the #1 maker of cameras? Well, former chairwoman and CEO of Hewlett-Packard and now Fox Business Network contributor Carly Fiorina will be here to talk about it. We'll also be hearing from one of the most powerful owners in the National Football League. The New England Patriots' Robert Kraft talks about building a winner, and he's been called the best fighter in the world. Pound for pound. You want to guess who I'm talking about? But he has also been a success outside the squared circle. We're talking about Oscar de la Hoya, about his business skills. It's all coming up when Peter Barnes and Alexis Glick start up Money for Breakfast at 7 a.m. Jenna.
All right, a lot to look forward to. But by now, everyone is familiar with the soaring cost of oil. Prices have more than doubled in the last 4 years. A barrel of crude closed Friday at a record $83.60. Some analysts believe $100 per barrel is inevitable. Well, my next guest says, bring it on. Aaron Task, editor of TheStreet.com, says the higher the oil, the better the economy. And he joins us this morning. Good morning, Aaron.
Hi, Jen.
All right, so, when we report soaring oil prices, we usually say, listen, the markets are up despite of soaring oil prices. But you say it's because.
Because of. I mean, higher oil prices is a sign that the global economy is strong. Oil prices are higher because of all this global demand that's going on. That's good for U.S. multinationals, the big cap companies that make up the Dow. And also energy stocks are now a very big part of the S&P 500 and the Dow. You have Exxon and Chevron in the Dow. So when oil prices go up, those stocks go up, and that's good for the stock market.
All right. Well, we saw crude gain about 3% last week, I believe. Are you telling me, and we saw tech stocks also gain last week. Are you saying, listen, at this time period, invest in energy companies like you're investing in tech?
Right. Well, for the last 5 years, energy has been the tech sector. It's been the hot place to be, where a lot of the hot money has gone. A lot of the day traders have been trading these energy stocks. What's going on now is maybe some of that money is shifting back into technology, which has picked up some steam. But I don't think you want to abandon energy at all, because there still has that forward momentum, and crude prices are going to remain high and probably going higher from here.
Well, the three largest oil companies just last week, energy companies, excuse me, said that they weren't expecting their third quarters to actually top last year's. They were expecting to report lower third quarter results. What do you make of something like that?
Well, part of that is, they talk about on Wall Street about tough comparisons. They just had, incredible third quarters last year. There's also some technicalities with refining margins are having crunched a little bit, but we're in what they call the shoulder season in the energy world. And as soon as we get that first cold snap here in the Northeast or in the Midwest, those refining margins are going to widen out again, and those stocks are going to do very well. It was interesting last week, Valero was one of those companies, talked about that. The stock was up that day because the street knows the refining margins are tight now. They're going to widen out again.
Well, Aaron, though, what's good for the street is not necessarily good for all Americans. When we see higher oil prices, we see higher dairy prices, we see it kind of affect different areas of the business world in general. So, I mean, is what's great for the market also great for America?
This is the reality. What's good for Wall Street, not necessarily good for Main Street. I think as an investor, this is why you want to be more heavily exposed to energy stocks than you do to stocks that are dependent on the consumer to continue to spend, beyond his means, unfortunately, which is what people are doing. But, energy, I just don't like when I hear the market was up despite higher oil prices, because you look at a chart 5 years, 3 years, 1 year, they're both going up together.
Well, okay, so then on the flip side of that, if crude oil starts to fall, I mean, some analysts were predicting that it would fall back down to $75, after these highs. Does that mean that the markets are going to go tumbling along with it? Well,
if energy stocks take a tumble, that would not be good for the Dow and the S&P, but I don't think that's going to happen. And the analysts have been wrong about oil all the way up. They keep saying it's going to go back down, and I think we're going to be at 100 before we see 65 again.
All right. Well, I'm going to watch my words and not say despite of anymore.
Thank you.
All right. All right. Thanks so much for joining us, Aaron. We're going to check back in with Aaron later this morning for his holiday retail sales forecast. But first, here's Nicole with your first look at the business travel forecast. Nicole?
We're certainly going to check in on the forecast, but I can tell you it's time to sharpen those skis, because some of the ski resorts are going to be opening soon, and we're going to be telling you about that. But there is much more ahead for you on the Fox Business Network. We'll see what stories are making news on the Fox Business Morning Radar. One of those companies to watch today, troubled toy maker Mattel, reporting earnings coming off a quarter where it saw thousands of its toys recalled due to fears of lead paint.
What are your future goals in life? Money for the down payment on a new home? Or someday buying what you've always dreamed of? Start investing today for the things you want with ShareBuilder, and we'll match the first $50 you invest. Go to our website now and follow 3 easy steps. For a limited time, we'll match the first $50 you invest when you open your account. Don't put it off another day. Start investing for the things you want, like tuition for your kids' education with ShareBuilder. It couldn't be easier to get going. Invest a little every month. There are no minimums. Open your account today and we'll match your first $50. That's $50 towards whatever you dream of. Build toward the things you want with ShareBuilder. Awarded Forbes.com Best of the Web. This is a limited time offer. Act now and we'll match your first $50. There's an investor in everyone, even you. Investment results vary and are subject to market risk, including the loss of principal. This special $50 TV offer is available for a limited time and only at the website shown.
Have money for breakfast and get in on the action.
We're going to be setting up the day for everybody.
What's hot, who's making headlines, and what's next? We're bringing the market to life.
This is about business news for everyone across this country.
Stories that are going to be fun and entertaining and sometimes surprising.
Alexis Glick, Peter Barnes, taking you behind the scenes, giving you a new perspective, helping you make the right decisions.
This is going to be the trip of a lifetime.
Stay ahead of the game. Have money for breakfast every day. Only on Fox Business.
And welcome back to Fox Business Morning, along with Nicole Petalides. I'm Jenna Lee. That was a look at the close for some of the financials this morning. One of those names tops our Fox Business Morning radar. Citigroup is set to report earnings this morning. The financial giant already lowered expectations earlier this month. Citi says it now expects a 60% decline in income compared with the same period last year. Also on the Fox Morning radar is Mattel, the toy maker caught in the middle of the recall of Chinese toys because of lead concerns. Now, Mattel reporting this morning, and analysts are expecting earnings of 70 cents per share. Shares of Mattel, ticker symbol MAT, trading in the red right now, just down a bit at $22.45. And keep an eye on shares of Biogen Idec, the company's board authorizing management to look into buyout offers for the biotech firm. Biogen Idec says there are already some interested parties, including famed billionaire investor Carl Icahn. The company trades under the ticker symbol BIIB and is trading near $70 there.
Well, at least 16 Chinese miners are dead this morning after being trapped for more than 30 hours in a state-owned mine. The miners were underground Saturday when a tunnel became blocked with coal. The news comes as Chinese President Hu Jintao promises to improve worker safety and reduce industrial accidents. China's coal industry is the deadliest in the entire world. In the first 7 months of this year, more than 2,100 miners have been killed on the job. Well, from miners to cancer rates. Cancer rates are falling faster than ever, according to an annual report by several cancer organizations. Scientists say between 2002 and 2004, the death rates fell by an average of 2.1% per year. The most progress came in the fight against colorectal cancer. It is still the #2 cancer killer, but deaths are dropping by 5% a year among men and 4.5% among women. Researchers say new diagnoses are down thanks to screening tests that can spot polyps before they form cancer. There are also more drugs on the market to help in the fight, and the #1 cancer killer certainly is lung cancer.
All right, this may be surprising. U.S. companies are spending less time battling lawsuits, according to a new survey. A survey of in-house law firms suggests there may not be as much corporate litigation, but big companies are still fighting plenty of court cases. The most popular ones are about patents and product liability. The survey finding 17% of companies did not have to defend against any new lawsuits this year. 22% say they expect to face even more legal disputes over the next year. And chief executives are overpaid. At least that's what some of them are saying. A study out today from the National Association of Corporate Directors says 4 out of 6 top executives feel their compensation was high relative to their performance. About 2% of those surveyed say compensation was too low. This all comes as the gap between America's rich and poor is at its largest point in more than 60 years.
I feel like I'm making too much, Jenna. All right, well, coming up on Fox Business Morning, another check on the business traveler's forecast.
And can retailers bounce back from some sluggish sales numbers? We'll talk to some experts next.
Have money for breakfast and get in on the action. Alexis Glick, Peter Barnes.
This is going to be the trip of a lifetime.
Have money for breakfast only on Fox Business.
When it comes to going bald, you now have a choice. Advances in medical science have resulted in the world's first and only permanent solution to hair loss.
It is your real hair. It's your natural hair. You wash it, you cut it, you swim with it.
Bosley is the world's most experienced hair restoration experts, having pioneered virtually every major advancement in the art and science of hair restoration.
I'm very satisfied, very happy with what I've done. This has got to be one of the best decisions I've made in my life, I'll tell you that.
Bosley Hair Restoration is a relatively simple outpatient procedure. The results look completely natural, and it's affordable on nearly any budget. Call the toll-free number now to receive your free, no-obligation information kit that will help you decide if hair restoration at Bosley is right for you. You don't have to accept going bald. Do something about it right now.
Call 1-800-691-1901. That's 1-800-691-1901. Call now.
And welcome back to Fox Business Morning. Here's a look at your business travelers forecast. We'll start out in the west where it's the worst. The Rockies saw at least a foot of snow, freezing rain in the lower elevations. Some ski resorts are opening in less than a month, actually. Temperatures near 40 degrees at Denver International. There's also a storm system in the Midwest. You'll have a day of chilly rain and showers in the western Great Lakes and northern plains. Showers and thunderstorms from Chicago to Kansas City. All over the Northeast, however, it's great for flying conditions with sunny skies and mild temperatures. And there could be some trouble down south, so watch out for that. Thunderstorms with large hail and damaging winds could hit parts of Texas. But to the east, it's 80 degrees and sunny in Atlanta. Nicole, over to you.
All right, well, warm weather cooled off retail sales for the third quarter. And although the numbers weren't as dramatically low as some analysts had anticipated, a happy holiday shopping season would be just the ticket for many of the retailers. For what to expect, we are joined again this morning by Mr. Aaron Task, editor of TheStreet.com. And we also bring in Mike Santoli, columnist and associate editor of Barron's. Good morning, gentlemen. Before I get to retail, are you guys skiers? Are you guys skiers?
Bad skier.
Bad skier?
Not in a long time.
All right, time to wax those skis, guys. All right, Aaron, let's start with you and talk about how the weather has affected retail.
Right, well, I mean, it certainly was an issue for a lot of retailers. Warmer than normal weather, and a lot of people had coats in the stores and sweaters that they couldn't offload. But the issue is a lot of these retailers, they have climatologists on staff now. So somebody should have said to them, hey, it's going to be a warm September. Maybe you'll keep the winter inventories back in the warehouse instead of putting it out on the floor.
Yeah, it's pretty tricky to try and buy something. You go to buy something in summertime and you see all like the wool and the cashmere.
You're
not quite ready to get in there and buy that. All right, Mike, tell us about the holiday shopping season. What's the outlook for that?
I think it's going to be okay. I think the best you can say about it is that we're going to muddle through, and I think it's good to have low expectations at this stage of the season. You don't want in October people saying it's going to be a blockbuster holiday season and then have disappointment down the road. I think kind of shopper psychology is such that they've front-loaded the holiday shopping season. They're looking for bargains. That's probably going to continue here. So I think we're going to be fine. I don't think it ever makes any sense to talk about the consumer. There's not a single consumer. It's a tremendous range of folks. Some of them are strapped. Many of them have money to spend. So I think low expectations right now sets us up for a sort of better than feared holiday season.
Should we throw out some names? Let's name some names. I mean, Walmart, for example, lowered the prices of their toys already. They're trying to get a jump on the holiday shopping season. They want you to come there and maybe not go to Toys R Us or KB Toys or wherever.
Right, or Kmart or Target.
Or Kmart or Target. So tell me about the holiday shopping season. Let's name some
I think
names.
Mike is right. I think the expectations are low to the point where people are talking about it's the worst Christmas in 5 years, and I feel like every year for the last 5 years we've had those headlines, and the consumer always comes through because Americans, this is what we do. We love to shop, and it also sets up the retail stocks for probably better performance. And typically you want to buy them right after or right before Thanksgiving, you know, the Black Friday.
Is that when you pick them up right before Black Friday, and when do you dump them?
When you dump them, you know, when you get into January and the January after, because people will be selling it's a new year and they want to dump their winners, you know, and start over a new year. So you get a nice bump in those stocks in the holiday shopping season, but you don't want to wait until the holiday sales numbers come out, and people say, oh, it was better than expected. That's not when that's the wrong
All
time
right,
to
so
buy
you
them.
have faith in the consumer. You think the consumer is coming through. Mike, what do you think?
I think the consumer is going to muddle through in total because people at the high end have so much to spend. The aggregate numbers are going to look fine. And at the lower end, as you mentioned, Walmart, bargain hunters will definitely be served here by a lot of those mass market retailers. Last week, in fact, we saw great numbers from Costco. Target's also been doing very well. So you're seeing the mass market discounters actually finding lots of demand there. Right. People trading down to some degree.
When Walmart is doing well, that's because people want to go for the lowest price. It's not because they want a great shopping experience.
What about some of the luxury retailers?
Well, Nordstrom and Saks were a disappointment last week, and that was really a surprise to a lot of people, and the stocks got hammered. You might want to look at a specialty retailer like Zumiez. It's doing really well. Abercrombie & Fitch, the kids love it.
Abercrombie & Fitch,
yeah,
that's
the place to go.
All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Aaron and Mike, thanks so much for joining us, and we will have much more from these guys later on in the hour. Jenna.
All right, thanks, Nicole. Up next on Fox Business Morning, a check on the news that happened while you were sleeping. Plus, we'll get a check on the overseas markets from London. And some big banks are teaming up to try and stop the credit crunch by buying up some risky debt. We'll have the details and more when we come back.
If you're remodeling your kitchen, you can't afford to miss this information. It's the information retailers don't want you to see.
Prior to joining Direct Buy, we'd already priced out our whole entire house of cabinetry for this project, and it was going to come to a little over $60,000. But when we went back to Direct Buy, they came back with $38,000, and that was everything included. So the savings is almost too good to be true.
Imagine paying insider prices for items like kitchen cabinets, plumbing fixtures, countertops, and appliances. There's now a way to buy virtually everything you need at prices you never imagined possible. Call the number on your screen now to receive your free insider's guide to buying direct. Plus, you'll also receive a free visitor's pass for an exclusive tour of your local Direct Buy showroom. Call right now to get started buying the Direct Buy way. Stop paying retail and become part of Direct Buy, the private members-only showroom and design center. Don't wait another minute. Pick up the phone and call now.
Today, he's tearing up the gaming industry. Tony Hawk talks up his billion-dollar venture. Plus, why is there a controversy? Larry Silverstein on reviving Ground Zero. Don't even think of skipping it. Money for breakfast.
And welcome back, everyone. This is Fox Business Morning. I'm Jenna Lee.
And I'm Nicole Petalides. Here's a look at what happened in your world while you were sleeping. Well, Danaher making some merger and acquisition news. Wall Street Journal telling Fox Business the industrial conglomerate was ready to close a deal for Textronics. The proposed $2.8 billion all-cash deal would value Textronics shares at $38 each. Textronics, which is an electronic test and measurement company, closed Friday at $28.34.
Well, Hitachi says it has successfully reduced the size of a key component in hard drives. Hitachi says the discovery will enable computer makers to quadruple the memory of your laptops and music players. The company made the announcement at a conference in Tokyo overnight and says it expects the technology to be available to the public by the year 2011. Now, Hitachi is an ADR, or American Depository Receipt. An ADR is a certificate of shares of a foreign stock that trades in the U.S. Hitachi trades on the New York Stock Exchange under the ticker symbol HIT. The stock currently trading around $67 a share. And quick look at sports here. The Colorado Rockies are now one step away from baseball's World Series. The Rockies beat the Arizona Diamondbacks 4-1 last night. That victory gives the Rockies 3-0 edge in the series. Game 4 is tonight in Denver, and tonight only on Fox. The Boston Red Sox and Cleveland Indians meet in Game 3 of the American League Championship Series in Cleveland. The series is tied at a game apiece.
Boy, there was a lot of rain there last night. What a double play. All right, in Sunday Night Football, the New Orleans Saints were in Seattle to play the Seahawks. The biggest highlight from the game was the one that almost didn't happen. During a timeout in the first quarter, an NBC camera suspended above the field came crashing down and almost hit some of the Seahawk players. After a short delay, the camera was moved out of